You know, if I lose or she loses, she goes that way, I go that way.
But she went not just this way, she called the police and said that you had assaulted her.
Do you still remember those young black stars who lit up our screens with talent and promise? They had the charm, the buzz, and all of Hollywood watching until they disappeared from the spotlight. From childhood favorites like Jaleel White to breakout names like Raven-Symoné, here are 20 black teen stars who completely vanished from Hollywood. 1. Orlando Brown.
First you tell me Andrea's gonna kiss me, then you make me your boyfriend so I can't kiss her. Man, this is one big psychic ripoff.
There was a time when Orlando Brown was one of Disney Channel's brightest stars. If you had a childhood filled with reruns of That's So Raven, then you definitely remember Eddie Thomas, Raven's best friend who always had a goofy comeback, a mischievous grin, and enough charm to carry a whole episode. Orlando brought Eddie to life in a way that made the character unforgettable. He wasn't just playing a sidekick, he was part of what made the show a hit. Before That's So Raven, Orlando had already dipped his toes in Hollywood. He had roles in shows like Family Matters, Jamie Foxx Show, and movies like Major Payne. He even lent his voice to characters on The Proud Family and Fillmore, so it wasn't just a one-time fluke. He was building momentum. Kids adored him. Parents recognized his face, and his comedic timing, always on point. But when the Disney era wrapped up, things started getting rocky. Instead of new roles, it was headlines. Lots of them. Arrests, unpredictable interviews, erratic social media posts. It all became part of the Orlando Brown story. At one point, people were less interested in what project he was working on and more shocked by what he said in his latest viral clip. Despite all of that, Orlando has shown signs of trying to turn things around. He has talked openly about going to rehab, finding faith, and wanting to rebuild his life. He's even popped up in a few low-budget films and podcasts. Whether or not he stages a full comeback, he will always have a special place in the childhood memories of a whole generation. 2. Brandon Quinton Adams.
He only plays football. Some preppy school gave him a scholarship as long as he doesn't play hockey. They don't want him getting hurt.
If you grew up watching feel-good sports movies in the 90s, Brandon Quinton Adams probably had a spot on your list of favorites. This guy was everywhere, playing Jesse Hall in The Mighty Ducks and Kenny DeNunez in The Sandlot. He wasn't just another kid actor, he had attitude, swagger, and talent to back it up. In The Mighty Ducks, he played Jesse, the kid with a serious game face and no time for nonsense. He stood out even in a crowded cast of lovable misfits. Then came The Sandlot, where he played Kenny, the fastball-throwing, cool-under-pressure pitcher of the group. That movie became a rite of passage for every 90s kid, and Kenny? He was the one everyone secretly wanted to be. Brandon didn't stop acting right after those classics. He went on to appear in TV shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Sister, and had a guest role in Boy Meets World. He even had a part in Michael Jackson's Moonwalker film. But eventually, as the years rolled by, the big roles stopped coming. He tried his hand at music behind the scenes and took a step away from the Hollywood chaos. No scandals, no arrests. He just quietly drifted from the spotlight. Occasionally, fans catch glimpses of him at nostalgic reunions or old-school interviews. He's still around, just not chasing the Hollywood machine anymore. 3. Tatiana Ali. Tatiana Ali was the girl next door that everyone rooted for on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Playing Ashley Banks, she started as the sweet little sister who loved dolls and bedtime stories and grew into a confident teen with strong opinions, cute outfits, and a lovely singing voice. Her chemistry with Will Smith was one of the show's highlights. They were cousins on screen, but their dynamic often felt like a real-life sibling relationship. Midway through the show's run, we all found out that Tatiana could actually sing, and not just in a fun sitcom way, she had real vocal chops. After the show ended, she went straight into music and dropped her debut album, Kiss the Sky, in 1998. It gave us Daydreamin', which was a legit hit and stayed on the charts for a while. Her music career never quite exploded the way some expected, but she stayed busy. She acted in indie films like Jawbreaker and had stints in daytime TV, including The Young and the Restless. Instead of chasing fame full throttle, she took a route many former child stars don't. She went back to school and earned a degree from Harvard in African American Studies. Tatiana still acts every now and then, but she's mostly kept things low-key. You might catch her in a Christmas movie here or there, or see her pop up on a red carpet, but she's definitely stepped back from the non-stop spotlight. She's focused on family, education, and advocacy work, and she's doing it all without the Hollywood chaos. 4. Bow Wow.
When I ran into this one, she would be the red room of my pimpin'.
Back when he was still Lil Bow Wow, he came out swinging, literally. He was just a kid with braids and oversized jerseys, but he had bars that could hold their own in the rap world. Discovered by Snoop Dogg and mentored by Jermaine Dupri, Bow Wow dropped Beware of Dog at age 13, and it went multi-platinum. Tracks like Bounce With Me and That's My Name were everywhere. Radio, MTV, every middle school dance. Then he switched gears and went to the big screen. Like Mike was a hit with kids, and Bow Wow proved he had acting chops too. He was charming, funny, and believable as the underdog orphan who suddenly becomes an NBA-level player thanks to a pair of sneakers. That movie opened the door to other roles in Roll Bounce, John Tucker Must Die, and even The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. As he got older, he dropped the Lil and tried to rebrand as a mature artist. He released more music, did some collabs with Chris Brown and Omarion, and explored new sounds. Eventually, he moved into hosting and co-led 106 & Park on BT for years. It was a good look, and for a while, it seemed like Bow Wow had made a smooth transition from child star to adult entertainer. But then things got rocky. Public rants, weird social media moments, and the whole Bow Wow challenge kind of took the shine off. He became more of a meme than a music act. These days, he still performs and pops up at nostalgic events, but his days of topping charts and headlining movies seem to be in the rearview mirror. 5. Jason Weaver.
If you did the report when you were supposed to, you'd have had plenty of time for practice.
I don't care about that report. I just wanted to play basketball. You took that away from me.
Jason Weaver is one of those stars who's been in the background of some seriously iconic moments. Long before Smart Guy, he voiced young Simba's singing parts in The Lion King. Yep, those unforgettable songs, I Just Can't Wait to Be King and Hakuna Matata, came straight from his vocal cords. That voice helped shape one of Disney's biggest animated films of all time. Then came Smart Guy, where Jason played Marcus, the older brother who was always one step behind his genius little bro, TJ. While TJ was solving college-level math problems at age 10, Marcus was mostly just trying to graduate high school. But he was cool, stylish, funny, and had great one-liners. He made the show relatable and brought balance to all that brainpower. After Smart Guy, Jason gave music a real shot. He released an album and collaborated with artists like Chingy on the hit One Call Away. Though he never hit superstar status in the music world, he kept the momentum going for a while. His career was more slow burn than fireworks. Over the years, Jason's mostly stayed off the Hollywood radar. He has done some voice work, acted in a few films, and made low-key appearances, but he's not in the game the way he used to be. Still, if you grew up in the 90s, you definitely remember him, and probably still sing along when young Simba starts belting out his part. 6. Kesha Knight, Pulliam.
Well, Sandra says a woman can do anything. No. A woman can do it. Man says. Not me.
There are child stars, and then there's Kesha Knight Pulliam, who basically owned the 80s as little Rudy Huxtable on The Cosby Show. She wasn't just the youngest member of the family, she was the show's heartbeat. Whether she was delivering a sassy comeback or stealing the scene with her adorable face, Kesha knew how to hold her own among big names, and she was only 5 when the show began. Her role as Rudy became one of the most loved characters in sitcom history. She had great timing, tons of personality, and enough spunk to make even the grumpiest viewer smile. That charm even earned her an Emmy nomination at a ridiculously young age, putting her in the spotlight not just as a cute kid, but as a legit talent. When The Cosby Show wrapped up, Kesha didn't hang around waiting for the next sitcom. Instead, she stepped away from the cameras for a while and enrolled at Spelman College. That's right. While other stars were chasing auditions, she was studying sociology and living a totally different kind of life. Eventually, she returned to the screen in her own way. Not flashy, but consistent. You might have caught her in Beauty Shop or on shows like Celebrity Apprentice. She also made guest appearances in a few Tyler Perry productions and leaned into reality TV for a bit. It wasn't about chasing fame. It was more about doing what she wanted when she felt like it. 7. Countess Vaughn. If you ever tuned in to Moshe or the Parkers, then Countess Vaughn is probably burned into your memory as Kim Parker, the loud, lovable, slightly dramatic best friend who wasn't afraid to sing her heart out or rock a wild outfit. Kim was fun, flashy, and hilarious, and Countess played her with so much energy that she easily became a fan favorite. Before all the sitcom fame, though, Countess had already shown the world she could really sing. She won big on Star Search when she was just 10, crushing the competition with her powerhouse voice. That victory set the stage for her to step into TV and eventually into the hearts of audiences across the country. The Parkers gave her an even bigger platform. She was the lead now, sharing the screen with Monique, and she absolutely owned it. Kim's over-the-top antics were comedy gold, and Countess played the role so well it felt like she was Kim in real life. But behind the scenes, things weren't as sparkly. Countess dealt with a lot: body image issues, health problems, and complications from cosmetic surgeries that forced her to take a step back from the industry. The pressure of being in the spotlight took its toll. Still, she didn't disappear entirely. She opened up about her experiences on reality shows like Hollywood Divas and Celebrity Fit Club, using those platforms to tell her side of the story. These days, she keeps it low-key, but her early work remains a bright spot in the world of 90s sitcoms. 8. Tempest Bledsoe. Tempest Bledsoe is another familiar face from The Cosby Show, where she played Vanessa Huxtable, the brainy, sarcastic middle child who always seemed to be getting into something. She was the sibling who didn't go down without a fight and always had a solid comeback ready. Vanessa wasn't the flashiest character on the show, but Tempest made her funny, smart, and totally relatable. She had that dry wit and expressive face that made every little sibling squabble feel authentic. After the show ended, Tempest didn't jump straight into the next big role. Instead, she took a break to go study finance at New York University. She returned to the screen here and there, popping up on shows like Strong Medicine and hosting the home makeover show Clean House for a bit. She even did reality TV once in a while, but always in a chill, under-the-radar way. No drama, no scandals, just a steady, peaceful life. 9. Gary Coleman.
Did you notice anything unusual about Henry the maintenance man?
Yeah, it was wet. I guess the man sweats a lot.
Gary Coleman was the kind of star who didn't just entertain people. He practically became a cultural moment. As Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes, his line, "What you talkin' about, Willis?" was so catchy, it turned into one of TV's most quoted phrases ever. He was tiny, quick-witted, and had a face you just couldn't forget. For a while, Gary was everywhere: interviews, sitcom specials, even cartoons. He was one of the most bankable young stars of the 80s, and his talent was impossible to ignore. But as Gary got older, things got rough. He had a lifelong kidney condition that affected his growth, and it also meant constant medical care and surgeries. On top of that, his money, millions of dollars, was mishandled by the adults around him. By the time he realized what was happening, most of it was gone. He sued his parents and his manager and won the case, but the emotional and financial damage had already been done. Typecasting was another hurdle. Even though he had talent, people couldn't see past Arnold. He tried voice work, commercials, even a few reality shows. At one point, he even ran for governor of California, yes, seriously, during the recall election. But none of it really brought him back into the mainstream. His later years were filled with legal and personal struggles. And in 2010, things took a devastating turn when Gary passed away after a fall caused a fatal brain hemorrhage. He was just 42. Despite everything, the mark he left on pop culture is still strong. And that catchphrase? People are still quoting it. 10. Marcus Terrell Polk. Marcus Polk lit up the screen as Miles Mitchell on Moesha. As Moesha's younger brother, he was that mix of annoying and lovable that every little sibling aims for. He had sharp one-liners, smart aleck comebacks, and a constant desire to get into grown folks' business. While Brandy was the center of the show, Marcus always managed to steal a few scenes with his playful charm. He was funny without trying too hard and made the perfect little brother in the mix of teenage drama and family moments. After Moesha ended, Marcus tried to keep the momentum going. He landed guest spots in shows like The Proud Family and even had a role in the film Roll Bounce alongside Bo Wow. But the big leading roles just didn't come. He pivoted into music for a while, testing the waters as a rapper. He dropped some songs, performed at events, and did his best to stay creative. Unfortunately, he hit a few bumps. In the 2010s, Marcus made headlines for legal trouble, including an arrest for domestic violence, which put a cloud over his public image. Since then, his appearances have been limited, and he's mostly kept a low profile. Even though he's no longer on primetime TV, he had a solid run during his early years. And for fans of Moesha, he will always be the kid brother who made things just a little more chaotic and fun. 11. Emmanuel Lewis.
I was making breakfast.
No, because you were ruining breakfast.
If you were flipping through channels in the 80s, chances are you stumbled on Webster, and once you saw it, you probably couldn't look away. That adorable little kid with the big smile and tiny frame? That was Emmanuel Lewis, and he didn't just star in the show, he was the show. His short stature, caused by a rare medical condition, gave him a look that made casting directors and viewers take notice. But unlike many child actors, he didn't rely on just being cute. He had range. He could make you laugh, pull at your heartstrings, and deliver a zinger without blinking. When Webster ended, though, so did the whirlwind fame. Emmanuel kept trying to stay active in Hollywood, landing guest spots and even doing commercials here and there. But the roles weren't as frequent, and the shadow of Webster was hard to step out of. So instead of chasing the fame, Emmanuel made a solid decision. He stepped back. He enrolled at Clark Atlanta University and earned a degree in theater arts, building a strong foundation for himself away from the flashing lights. While many other child stars from that era made headlines for all the wrong reasons, Emmanuel stayed under the radar. He focused on learning, growing, and living a quieter life. These days, he makes occasional appearances at nostalgic events, and fans still remember him fondly. 12th. Jaleel White.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Neil? Thank God you're alive.
Even if you never watched a full episode of Family Matters, you still know Steve Urkel, the suspenders, the giant glasses, the snorty laugh, and of course that high-pitched, unforgettable question. Did I do that? Behind all that lovable awkwardness was Jaleel White, a young actor who turned what was supposed to be a one-time guest role into the most iconic part of the entire show. Family Matters ran from 1989 to 1998, and thanks to Jaleel's genius, Urkel quickly became the heart of it. He took what could have been a gimmicky character and gave him depth, charm, and even evolution. Remember Stefan Urquell? That suave alter ego? That was Jaleel, too. But once the show wrapped, the industry wasn't so quick to let go of Urkel. Jaleel struggled to find new roles where people didn't expect him to show up in plaid pants. Typecasting hit hard, and for a while, it seemed like the suspenders had stuck to him permanently. Instead of giving up, Jaleel pivoted. He became the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in multiple animated shows, including Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Underground. His voice work gave him room to reinvent himself, out of sight, but still in the game. He also popped up in live-action shows like CSI Crime Scene Investigation, Drunk History, House, and even made a charming run on Dancing with the Stars. More recently, he stepped into producing and writing, taking control behind the scenes. Jaleel's career has had its hills and valleys, but through it all, he has shown perseverance and growth. Whether he's voicing a blue hedgehog or dropping by for an Urkel cameo, one thing is clear. He's got range, and he's still got it. 13. Raven-Symoné.
I don't want to be labeled gay. I want to be labeled a human who loves humans. I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Before she was a Disney Channel icon, Raven-Symoné was stealing scenes as the tiny and sassy Olivia Kendall on The Cosby Show. She joined the show at just 3 years old, but even then, she had comic timing grown-ups would envy. She wasn't just delivering lines, she was the punchline. Then came That's So Raven, the show that catapulted her into teen superstardom. As Raven Baxter, she played a bubbly, psychic high schooler who could see the future, though not always clearly. The physical comedy, the over-the-top facial expressions, and the theme song, which she sang herself, all became part of her signature brand. The show ran from 2003 to 2007 and became one of Disney Channel's most popular series ever. After the show ended, Raven took some well-deserved time off. She had been acting almost non-stop since she was a toddler. She focused on herself, explored music, and even went to Academy of Art University in San Francisco. It was a quiet but intentional break from the chaos. In the years that followed, she showed up on everything from The View, where she co-hosted and shared her unfiltered takes, to guest appearances on sitcoms and voice work. And when Disney brought her back for Raven's Home in 2017, it was like she never left. Now playing a single mom to twins, Raven had officially gone full circle. She has also become a role model for authenticity, open about her personal life, her journey, and who she is beyond the screen. Raven-Symoné proves that child stars can grow up, evolve, and still keep fans laughing. 14. Ross Bagley. Ross Bagley didn't have a huge list of credits, but the roles he did play were unforgettable. You probably first spotted him as Nicky Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He joined during the later seasons, playing Will's adorable little cousin, and he brought new energy to the already iconic show. His chemistry with Will Smith was so solid that when it came time to film Independence Day, Ross was cast as Will's stepson Dylan. Though it was a smaller role, he held his own in a blockbuster filled with aliens, explosions, and dramatic speeches. Not bad for a kid who hadn't even hit middle school yet. But as Ross got older, the acting opportunities became fewer. Rather than force it, he decided to pivot. He went to California State University, Northridge, earned a degree in cinema and television arts, and got into real estate. These days, Ross works in the housing market and leads a pretty regular life away from the glitz of Hollywood. Every now and then, he will appear in reunions or nostalgic interviews about Fresh Prince, and fans love to see how much he's grown. While his Hollywood chapter may have closed early, Ross Bagley managed to walk away with 2 iconic roles under his belt, and that's more than most actors get in a lifetime. 15. Taj Mowry.
Were you staring at that woman's butt? Are you sure? Because it looked like you were staring at that woman's butt.
Taj Mowry is proof that talent runs deep in the family. As the younger brother of Tia and Tamra Mowry, he had big shoes to fill, but he didn't just fill them. He made his own. He burst onto the scene in Smart Guy, playing T.J. Henderson, a 10-year-old genius who skips grades and winds up in high school with much older kids. The show was funny, heartwarming, and super relatable, thanks in no small part to Taj's perfect delivery. TJ wasn't just book smart. He had sass, style, and a whole lot of awkward charm. After Smart Guy, Taj continued working in TV. He voiced Wade Load, the gadget whiz, in Kim Possible, showing that even behind the scenes, his talent could shine. He also appeared in Full House, Baby Daddy, and even made music, releasing singles like Flirt and Excuse Me. While his music didn't exactly top the charts, he stayed committed to the craft, showing that he wasn't afraid to explore different passions. He also managed to avoid the pitfalls that hit a lot of child actors. No messy headlines, no public meltdowns, just steady work and a humble attitude. Taj is still acting today, and fans who grew up with Smart Guy are always thrilled to see him back. Whether he's in a guest spot or doing voice work, his familiar face and voice continues to bring joy. He may not be a tabloid regular, but in the hearts of 90s kids? Taj Mowry is still a genius. 16. Reagan Gomez Preston. Reagan Gomez Preston first grabbed everyone's attention in the late 90s when she stepped into the role of Zaria Peterson on the hit sitcom The Parenthood. Zaria was the cool, stylish, smart-mouthed teen who knew exactly who she was and wasn't afraid to speak up. Whether she was rolling her eyes at her little brother or calling out her dad's corny jokes, Zaria had a mix of attitude and heart that made her unforgettable. And Reagan? She brought it all to life like a natural. Reagan wasn't just acting, she was setting trends and repping for a new kind of teen girl on screen. The Parenthood ran for 5 seasons, and Reagan was a standout from start to finish. But once the show wrapped, she didn't try to cling to the same old type of roles. Nope, she flipped the script. She moved into voice acting and absolutely killed it as Roberta Tubbs on The Cleveland Show. That show ran for 4 seasons, and Reagan's voice became one of its staples. Not only did she prove her range, but she also showed Hollywood that she didn't need to be in front of the camera to shine. Outside of voice work, she dove into independent film and web series. Tired of waiting around for someone to hand her the right role, Reagan decided to create them herself. She launched her own production company and began telling stories that reflected real Black experiences, something she was passionate about. Her web series, Surviving, drew praise for its fresh, authentic storytelling. These days, Reagan is still doing her thing, juggling motherhood, activism, and creativity. She shares her life openly on social media, advocates for Black women's issues, and continues to work in both mainstream and independent spaces. She's proof that you don't need to be in a blockbuster every year to make a lasting impact. 17. Brandy. Let's be honest. Brandy didn't just enter the scene in the 90s. She owned it. Whether she was acting, singing, or both, Brandy was always doing something that had the whole world watching. She hit major stardom playing Moesha Mitchell in the iconic teen sitcom Moesha. Moesha wasn't just another TV teenager. She was thoughtful, funny, bold, and trying to make sense of life, just like the rest of us. Brandy played her with so much heart that audiences felt like they knew her. Moesha ran for 6 strong seasons and became one of the most loved Black-led shows on TV. But while she was busy dominating prime time, Brandy was also out here breaking records in the music world. Her debut album Brandy gave us hits like I Wanna Be Down and Baby, and it was clear she wasn't just an actress who could sing. She was a legit R&B powerhouse. And then came The Boy Is Mine with Monica. That song was everywhere, on the radio, at the top of the charts, and in everyone's head for years. It even snagged a Grammy. And let's not forget when she made history as the first Black Cinderella in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, alongside Whitney Houston. That movie was a game changer, diverse, magical, and unforgettable. Despite her fame, Brandy went through some real-life struggles. She was involved in a tragic car accident and battled health issues, both physical and emotional. But even when life hit hard, she kept coming back stronger. Albums like Full Moon, Aphrodisiac, and B7 showed that her voice hadn't lost a single note, and her fans, they never left. Brandy's career has been full of high notes and hurdles, but through it all, she stayed true to herself. She's an icon, plain and simple. 18. Lawrence Tate. Back in the 90s, if Lawrence Tate was in a movie, you knew it was about to get real. His breakout role as O-Dog in Menace II Society still gives people chills to this day. He played a young street hustler with an unpredictable edge, and he was so believable, it was scary. That performance didn't just introduce Lawrence, it launched him. But here's the thing, Lawrence wasn't just about the tough guy roles. He proved that real actors have range. In The Inkwell, he played Drew Tate, a nerdy, awkward teen trying to find his way during a summer vacation. The switch-up was smooth, and Lawrence brought humor and heart in equal measure. Then came Love Jones. That's when Lawrence officially became the smooth, sensitive dream guy of every black woman's favorite romance. As Darius Lovehall, he delivered poetry, love, and soulful stares that still get replayed in TikToks today. Love Jones became a cult classic, and Lawrence earned his place as a leading man. He kept the momentum going with serious roles in Dead Presidents and Why Do Fools Fall in Love? But as time went on, Lawrence started choosing his projects more carefully. He focused on quality over quantity, only popping up when it mattered. Whether it was in Waist Deep, Ray, or Power Book 2. Ghost, he showed he still had it. He's been married to his wife, Tommy E. Tate, for years and keeps things private, which only makes fans respect him more. 19. Malcolm Jamal Warner.
What are you gonna do to me?
I am going to fix your ear.
Then what?
You expecting some sort of punishment?
Shouldn't I?
Yeah.
You probably met Malcolm Jamal Warner when he was still a teen, playing the wisecracking but lovable Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. As the only son in the Huxtable family, Theo was the kind of character that felt real, goofy, messy, and constantly learning life lessons. Malcolm's delivery made those lessons hit harder, especially when the show tackled things like learning disabilities and teenage responsibility. While The Cosby Show became one of the most influential sitcoms ever, Malcolm wasn't content to be remembered for just one role. He branched out with Malcolm and Eddie, a buddy comedy where he played a more grown-up character, still funny, but more grounded. He also started showing up on more serious shows like Suits, The Practice, Sons of Anarchy, and American Crime Story. But here's what sets Malcolm apart. He's an artist through and through. Outside of acting, he's a skilled poet and jazz musician. He plays the bass guitar and performs spoken word that blends rhythm, rhyme, and real-life reflection. He even earned a Grammy for his work on Jazz Speaks with Roberta Gambarini and Theo Croker. And while he has never been one to chase fame, he has always been passionate about his craft. He values privacy, family, and purpose, and that grounded energy shows in everything he does. 20. Kyla Pratt.
Spirit, you should know that my diary has like 2 chapters filled with your juicy little secrets.
Kyla Pratt was that girl in the early 2000s who seemed to be everywhere, and for good reason. She had talent, charisma, and the kind of on-screen charm that made you want to be her best friend. She starred as Brianna Barnes in One-on-One, playing a smart, independent teen living with her single dad. The show was hilarious, heartfelt, and super relatable, and Kyla's comedic timing was perfect. She wasn't just a child actor reading lines, she was acting like a pro. At the same time, she was lending her voice to Penny Proud in The Proud Family. Penny was a smart, sassy teen trying to balance school, friends, and her over-the-top family. Kyla's voice work gave Penny life and made the character unforgettable. The show was such a hit, Disney brought it back years later with The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, and yes, Kyla returned. She also starred in Dr. Dolittle 2 and Dr. Dolittle 3, taking over the lead from Eddie Murphy and showing she could carry a movie just fine on her own. But then, Kyla did something rare for young stars. She took a break. She stepped away from Hollywood to focus on raising her 2 daughters and living life out of the spotlight. And honestly, she handled it with grace. When she came back, it was like she never left. From Call Me Kat to voice roles to reprising Penny Proud, Kyla showed that she had grown, not just as an actor, but as a woman. She keeps things real, stays out of drama, and lets her work do the talking.